Professor Weber, I would like to talk with you about social security and platform work. Platform work or crowd work is increasing worldwide. You believe that it is time for a digital social security system. Why do we need digital social security worldwide?
Yeah, indeed, digitalization makes it possible to trade work online on these so-called platforms. This has clear potentials. It increases market transparency, it decreases transaction costs, it can accommodate the wishes of individuals who want to plan their time more individually, more freely. But it has also a drawback. One of these drawbacks is that we see in survey results that there's a clear lack of social security for these crowd workers. But we have to say there's really no reason to believe that crowd workers would need no social security. So the challenge is how to organize that.
Could you please describe how your concept works?
So the problem to organize social security in this context of crowd working is the character of the market. It's totally flexible, it's totally international. You have a multitude of very small jobs, you have ever-changing contract partners and so on. So handling all that within the boundaries of a national regulation system is hardly feasible. So therefore, we created a proposal which is called Digital Social Security. And this works as follows. We say, let's create an international account system, a DSS account system, where every individual gets its own account. And whenever a person finishes a job in one of these platforms, then a fixed percentage of the agreed salary is transferred to this account. And afterwards, let's say once a month, all these amounts which accrued on the account, these are transferred to the national social security system, where all the rest is done, for example, generating claims and so on.
Is it fair that all platform workers have to pay for digital social security, no matter where they live, and how much they have to pay for their rent, for example, and how much they work on platform?
Yeah, the important point to see is that we need a general system which really takes care of the whole phenomenon of crowd working, which is fully international since it's totally digitalized. So therefore, it is fair that everybody pays, and you have to see everybody pays for his own claims. This is the important point. You don't pay in Germany for Australia and vice versa, but you pay for your own claims, since what you pay to your own DSS account is transferred to the Social Security, and it's for your claims in the national system.
All nations where platform headquarters exist and all nations where platform workers live would need to agree on a common system. Is that realistic to achieve?
The important point to see is that national social security systems are extremely strongly different. Therefore, there's absolutely no chance to agree worldwide on a single social security for crowd working or whatever. But what we proposed is we have one mechanism which has to be introduced in the platforms. This is transfer a fixed percentage of the agreed salary to the DSS account. Once the money then crosses the border into the national social security system, the whole proposal is fully flexible. So generating claims, distributing the money among different social insurances, introducing minimum contributions, and all these things, they could be totally country-specific.
How could European countries, if they, for example, started in Europe, how could they hold platforms in the United States responsible?
So in general, we have to see that platforms would be able to enforce such a system. They also enforce the payment of their fees. So, and these fees are usually up to 30–40%, and so that's clearly larger, that's clearly higher than usual social security contributions. So the platforms can do it. What we need is a sufficient political consensus of a sufficient number of countries, which could be European countries, but also different countries. Of course, the system would only work in these countries which participate. But you need a sufficiently large number to get a certain dynamics which then will proceed further. Of course, you can hold the platforms responsible because the one who decides that a platform can operate in a country this is the national government. The important point to see is we need enough national governments to get a certain dynamics really into play.
When do you think a system of digital social security is needed? When a certain number of platform workers is achieved, or when a certain amount of money is earned, or when the percentage of full-time platform workers has reached a certain number?
So in general, we can say that this phenomenon of platform work is still on rather low levels in many countries. But we can also state that it is on an upward trend, and it is on an exponential trend. So this means that organizing digital social security should start now. We should start a system now and let's say begin it as an experiment in order to gain experience with such an instrument, also in order to gain acceptance for such an instrument. And then by the time that platform work will have grown and the phenomenon becomes more and more important, then we would have a rather well-functioning instrument at hand which guarantees social security in this area. So this is a concrete step forward which is both feasible and socially beneficial.